Ah, SimCity, a franchise I have loved so much. You were so open, you were so sandboxy, I could build a great megalopolis and then destroy the entire thing and rebuild it again and just have a blast just making the giantest, biggest city imaginable. That is until last week when you released a new SimCity, which had a very small plot size for cities. It was extremely restrictive, requires you to be online, requires you pretty much to play multiplayer to build the wonders, and was in general just a giant piece of crap. But instead of dwelling upon that, instead of dwelling upon the sad and abysmal state that SimCity is in today, let's go ahead and celebrate some of the best of the open world games ever. Hey, I'm the Portlandian here, bringing you my top 10 open world games ever.
Number 10.
Back in the day before Activision forced every developer they had to make Skylanders, Marvel games, or Call of Duty, Treyarch was actually a fantastic third-party developer that worked in association with Activision. And one of their prime games that they ever made was Spider-Man 2. And Spider-Man 2 is just one of the best licensed games, period, but is also one of the best open-world games because it is the entirety of New York City mapped out, and you can web-sling across the entire thing. Want to go from the financial district all the way to Queens? Go right ahead. You can do that. This game is completely open for you to be able to explore New York, tackle enemies as Spider-Man. The entire thing's here, and it's just so amazing. I wish that Activision would allow Treyarch to come back to the series and actually make the next Amazing Spider-Man game, rather than handing it off to Beenox, because it seems that Treyarch actually knows what they're doing in creating a fantastic open-world Spider-Man game that is just engaging to the player.
Number 9.
The Assassin's Creed series of games are some of the best produced games in the industry today, and part of the reason for that is that each of them have a giant open world and a unique setting for us to explore. And none of that more so than Assassin's Creed 3, with its giant wilderness for us to go exploring and hunting and just climbing through the trees and cliffs. It's just so beautiful, so immersive, so much fun. I mean, I never had so much fun just walking around doing almost nothing, just exploring the environment. Ubisoft did a fantastic job in the production of this game, and that's why it earns a number 10 spot on this list.
Number 8.
The Dreamcast was one of the most innovative systems to ever be released, and it had a game library that really did reflect that. One game in particular, Shenmue, was one of the best open-world games to ever be released of all time. And it was just a lot of fun on the Dreamcast, and I believe it's been ported over to different consoles since then. The game is very simple. You have a linear storyline that you can follow on, but at the same time you have an open world that you can explore. You can stop and get a soda, play some arcade Sega games. Whatever you need to do, you can do it. It's completely up to you. And that's what makes this game so much fun and so deserving to be on this list.
Number 7.
A lot of superheroes have gotten some really crappy games over the years, but Batman, in typical fashion, has got the most amazing games of them all, and none of that more so than Batman Arkham City. Rather than being restricted to the confines of Arkham Asylum in the previous game, you have an entire section of Gotham City to explore, and it is open world. You can just go around in the game for hours and just beat up criminals if you wanted to without making any real headway in the story at all. And that in of itself is a lot of fun. You can just be Batman doing his Batman thing and never even have to do anything else. And that in of itself is enjoyable. That is a very hard thing for most developers to be able to accomplish, and the fact that Rocksteady was able to get this done, I'm patiently awaiting a third entry in the series.
Number 6.
I love racing games almost as much as I love open world games, and the combination of the two came with Test Drive Unlimited. But the first game in this series was, it was good, but it wasn't great. But Test Drive Unlimited 2, that was fantastic. The entire island of Oahu mapped out to every single street, great stuff. The fact that you can actually buy houses, get pulled over by cops, do street races, these are things that were innovative before Burnout Paradise or Forza Horizon ever arrived onto the scene. And in Test Drive Unlimited 2, they were just done better in the first place. It is a fun game, and if you have an Xbox 360, I highly suggest picking this title up.
Number 5.
We can't talk about open world games without bringing up one of the best games to come out in recent memory, Just Cause 2. Now, the story and everything behind the game is lackluster at best. It's really not that engaging. But once you are able to get into that open world and just explore and do whatever the hell you want, Just Cause 2 delivers. It is a massive, fun playground for you to literally do whatever the hell you want to do. And that is awesome.
Number 4.
If you even clicked on this video, you knew that Grand Theft Auto was going to be in here somewhere. But which Grand Theft Auto am I going to pick? Is it going to be your favorite? Is it going to be my sister's favorite, Vice City? Is it going to be Grand Theft Auto 4? For me, the best open world that has ever been created in a Grand Theft Auto game was San Andreas. Not only was the map gigantic, making it the biggest game in the series to date, but it was also extremely engaging. When you're in Las Venturas, when you're in Los Santos, when you're in San Fierro, you do get it in a different environment, you get different interactions from people, and that made the game a ton more engaging. But on top of that, you also had the freedom to do really whatever the hell you wanted to. You want to go ahead and hijack a 747, fly it up, and then jump out and parachute 20 minutes from the ground? Well, go right ahead, you can do that. And that's the kind of freedom that San Andreas allowed you to do. Grand Theft Auto 4, it had its limitations. You couldn't fly things, you couldn't do a whole lot in that game. And while it was good, it just did have those restrictions that kept it sort of grounded. And the games before San Andreas didn't have the ability for flight. So San Andreas did exponentially grow the capability of open world in a Grand Theft Auto game. And that's why it's number 4 on my list.
Number 3.
Another game you should have been expecting to see on this list was The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. You don't even have to do the main story in this game, and you can just go do whatever the hell you want for the entire game and spend probably 200 to 300 hours doing just that, and never get to the story. That is a mark of genius in open world design. The fact that the game can be engaging for 200 to 300 hours and you never do anything involving the story, aside the introductory scene that you have to do, that is just brilliant. That is just amazing. And that is just great work done by Bethesda. And I cannot stress enough how good of a game this is. If you don't have Skyrim yet, what the hell are you doing watching my show? Go get Skyrim and take the week off work and just waste away in front of your PC. Please.
Number 2.
Rockstar has become famous for making open world games, but none of their games even come close to the amazingness that is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was a massive open world. It truly made you feel like you were in the time period that it's setting in, where the federal government is finally coming in to impede on what was once a Wild West. And that transition time is a perfect setting and allows you to explore very freely that world. And sure, you can do the linear story and nothing more, but why would you, when there's so much more to do? You can spend hours and hours, just like in Skyrim, doing nothing but side quests or doing your own missions, things that you create yourself, and you just want to explore and go to Mexico. Go right ahead. That's entirely up to you to do. And the fact that that game is replayable even after I beat the main campaign and had to deal with, all the spoilery ending stuff, it was still fun to come back to the game, play as John Marston, and just run through the Wild West doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. I never thought the Wild West was going to be a great storytelling area for video games, because I feel that it's been tackled so often by movies that it would just be cliche to do anything. And Red Dead Redemption proved me dead wrong and made me want to be a cowboy for hours on end in a video game.
Number 1.
I don't know what motivated the people at Volition to make Saints Row the Third so much superior to the previous 2 entries in the series, but I am so happy that it did, because this game is excellent. This is one of the first games I actually played until I had 100% completion in a long time. And that is something remarkable for an open world game, that I actually want to meet objectives. That's different. But this game is just a giant playground. I can still go back to it today, hop into my hover tank and go downtown, stop, go get a boob job, come back out, go talk to Burt Reynolds or call him in to help me out with a situation, blow up some bad guys, robbed the stores that I even own. It is just a remarkable all-around game. This game is just fun. If you are part of the 17 and older crowd, there is no reason for you not to own this game. Go out to the store right now and buy this, and you will not be disappointed. I 100% guarantee there's nothing about this game to hate. It is fun, it is exciting, it is just a blast to play, and it's all around ridiculous. And that's what I love about it. It never takes itself seriously. In Grand Theft Auto 4, you had this massive story narrative where everything was driving towards that to give you this cinematic experience while playing the game. Well, Saints Row says, well, screw that. We're just going to go ahead and let you do whatever the hell you want and have as much fun doing it as possible. We're going to let you have a baseball bat with a gigantic dildo on the end of it for you to beat the crap out of people with. And that kind of unique mindset really does make the game a joy to play. And that's why it deserves to be number 1 on my spot of top 10 open world games.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and to buy or sell any of the games or consoles discussed in this episode, go ahead and visit GameGavel.com, the only auction site built by gamers for gamers without the high eBay fees.